In a new interview with Fandom, Lightyear's director, Angus MacLane, finally gives us confirmation for where the upcoming film fits within the Toy Story universe. Fans were admittedly confused up until this point, and I've seen a lot of snarky responses intentionally misconstruing fans' questions. We know this is obviously not the toy Buzz that belonged to Andy, but is this real or fiction within the Toy Story universe itself? A prevalent theory up until this point was that Buzz Lightyear was a real astronaut in the universe, which inspired the media and merchandising phenomenon we saw in the first two Toy Story films. The interview in question disproves that theory and says definitively that Lightyear is a work of fiction within Toy Story's universe and was meant to be a sci-fi action film released in 1984 or 85. Interestingly, the interview also confirms that the original Toy Story now takes place in 1995, though that has been alluded to since Toy Story 2. Anyways, with so much time since the first Toy Story, the plans have definitely changed from the original filmmakers' intentions. We can compare and contrast to what Pixar had planned for Buzz Lightyear's backstory back in the 90s. During the production of the first film, we almost saw a much earlier introduction to Buzz Lightyear. In a very meta opening sequence, we would have started with a 2D animated cartoon before the grand reveal that we were simply observing the point of view of a child in a fully realized 3D environment. The sequence would have been topical. The early to mid-90s saw a rise of superhero shows and children's programming, alongside the sustained popularity of action figure toy lines with aggressive ad campaigns. Oftentimes, children's shows were toyetic in nature to not so subtly promote the real-life merchandise. This is where Buzz Lightyear's niche was, as your average 90s superhero cartoon tied in with a toy line that created a must-have shopping craze. If that sequence sounded familiar to you, you're not wrong. This type of fake-out opening, featuring the real Buzz Lightyear, was reused in Toy Story 2, this time as a tie-in video game, which you also couldn't escape for movies and TV shows in the 90s. While we never fully got a look at the actual cartoon Buzz hailed from beyond storyboards, the various merchandise around Andy's room gave us an idea of the art style for the show. Note that since Zurg's design wasn't finalized until Toy Story 2, Andy's drawings depict an earlier reference for him. Anyways, Buzz's design here is more or less identical to his toy appearance, just without the telltale signs of toy construction, like screws and joints being present. The Lightyear film opts for a redesign to set it apart from the original 90s look. Details are sparse on the cartoon Buzz from the original Toy Story universe. He's a fully fledged Space Ranger hailing from the planet Morph. Buzz is a member of the elite Space Ranger Corps under Star Command and sees it as his duty to protect innocence from tyranny, which is often against the reoccurring villain, the evil Emperor Zurg. For longer intergalactic travels, Buzz is put into hypersleep until he reaches his destination. Buzz's status as a superhero is intentionally over the top and campy, which leads to moments of being oblivious when thrust into the real world as an action figure. One thing they'll never be able to sell is that recasting Buzz Lightyear with Chris Evans was done for anything other than marquee value. Chris Evans is a hugely talented actor, but the entire ordeal still seems disrespectful to Tim Allen and the character he pioneered. The interview doesn't exactly change any minds. Producer Galen Sussman claims it was primarily done to avoid confusion with the toy character, which I think severely underestimates audiences. The Buzz Lightyear of Star Command movie used Tim Allen under the same pretenses as the film. There was no widespread confusion then. Famously, the real-life toys also used Tim Allen's actual voice. There's no set precedent in the real-life toy world. Some toys use the original actor's voice and some don't. But I'm not a fan of the inference that now Tim Allen's Buzz voice is just that of an imitator. Going back to Pixar's original intention, there was never another actor cast for the cartoon Buzz Lightyear. The storyboard sequence is mostly unfinished scratch voices with some of the final Tim Allen dialogue thrown in, and the video game Buzz from Toy Story 2 is all Tim Allen. Judging by these facts, this argument did not exist before Tim Allen was intended to be Buzz Lightyear's canonical voice up until this point. Other than these points, we're yet to see if this film connects nicely with the original Toy Story films. but don't count on it lining up with the Buzz Lightyear Star Command cartoon, as the director claims it was not taken into account for the series. Though to be fair, that was already loose with continuity to begin with. Still, MacLane doesn't discount that the series could take place after his proposed trilogy of films.